HYBE, for its part, has always been careful about how it communicates news about BTS members. Every press release or statement is crafted with precision, often balancing transparency with strategic ambiguity. This latest announcement, however, felt different. It was framed as shocking by fans. Not because HYBE deliberately sensationalized it, but because the content itself suggested a turning point in Jungkook's career. So what exactly did HYBE reveal? The company's statement confirmed new developments around Jungkook's upcoming projects that appear to expand his trajectory in ways that few had anticipated. Rather than being confined to music alone, the news hinted at Jungkook stepping further into areas of entertainment, branding, and global collaboration. For fans, the idea of Jungkook transcending even the massive scope of BTS felt both thrilling and daunting. On one hand, it proved the company's confidence in his ability to lead, create, and dominate markets. On the other hand, it triggered questions about how these new moves might affect BTS's collective future, his personal artistic direction, and the overall balance of the industry. The shock was heightened by timing. Jungkook's news, therefore, did not exist in isolation. It was tied to broader questions about group comebacks, solo promotions, and HYBE's long-term strategy. While the announcement was primarily professional in nature, its emotional resonance with fans was impossible to ignore. For many, Jungkook represents not just an idol, but a constant source of inspiration, comfort, and connection. Hearing that HYBE is positioning him for an even bigger global role was met with pride, but also apprehension. Some fans celebrated the idea of Jungkook breaking barriers yet again. After all, he has consistently been the member who defies limits, whether through record-breaking Spotify streams, his sold-out Calvin Klein campaigns, or his ability to draw global attention simply by stepping into an airport. Others, however, worried about the weight of expectation being placed on his shoulders. Would HYBE's ambitious plans give him enough room to grow naturally, or would they push him into overwhelming territory? That tension between admiration and concern is what made the announcement feel so shocking. Fans are used to big news, but this one struck a nerve because it touched on Jungkook's humanity as much as his stardom. From HYBE's perspective, the announcement was not only about Jungkook, but also about the company's positioning in an increasingly competitive entertainment landscape. Rivals such as SM Entertainment, JYP Entertainment, and YG Entertainment are continuously rolling out new groups and solo artists to capture global markets. Western labels are also eyeing K-pop collaborations more aggressively than ever. In this climate, HYBE's decision to spotlight Jungkook is both a business strategy and a message. They are confident that he is one of their strongest global assets. Moreover, the company knows that Jungkook is a figure who can bridge audiences. He resonates with longtime BTS fans, newer listeners drawn to his solo work, and even casual consumers who may first encounter him through fashion campaigns or award shows. This multi-dimensional reach makes him uniquely positioned to represent HYBE's global ambitions. Some argued that HYBE is effectively setting Jungkook up as the face of its global operations, a role that comes with immense opportunity but also pressure. Others suggested that this could mark the beginning of a new phase in K-pop, where individual members of already successful groups are elevated to global icons in their own right. The debates highlighted just how much influence Jungkook wields, not just as a performer, but as a cultural figure. The disbelief surrounding the news wasn't rooted in doubt about Jungkook's capabilities. Rather, it stemmed from the sheer scale of HYBE's ambitions for him. Many fans expressed that while they always knew Jungkook was destined for greatness, They hadn't expected official confirmation to arrive in such a bold and public manner. Social media platforms exploded with trending hashtags, fan theories, and emotional posts. Some fans revisited past interviews where Jungkook hinted at wanting to challenge himself, interpreting the announcement as a fulfillment of those dreams. Others clung to the hope that despite bigger responsibilities, he would continue to prioritize his artistry and connection with fans. One of the most sensitive points raised by fans was how Jungkook's new trajectory might interact with BTS's collective identity. While the group is currently on a temporary pause due to military obligations, the bond between members and their commitment to return as Seven remains central to their story. HYBE's announcement seemed to emphasize Jungkook's individuality without undermining the group. Still, the delicate balance between solo ventures and group unity is always under scrutiny. Fans were quick to remind themselves and each other that the members have always supported each other's growth. The shock, then, wasn't about division, but about realizing just how far HYBE is willing to take Jungkook's career on an individual level. What comes next is perhaps the most intriguing part of the story. HYBE's announcement laid the foundation for anticipation, but the actual outcomes remain open-ended. Will Jungkook expand more deeply into Western collaborations? Will he headline major international festivals? Will his role in fashion and branding eclipse even his music activities? Each possibility is not just speculation, but a realistic projection given his track record. What remains clear is that Jungkook is entering a new chapter 1 that will test not only his artistry, but also the resilience of the fan community that has supported him since debut. HYBE's announcement may have shocked fans, but it also unified them in anticipation of what's next. For fans, Jungkook's journey has always felt personal. Many have grown alongside him, watching him evolve from a teenager with big dreams into a global icon whose name is recognized in nearly every major city. HYBE's announcement amplified this sense of pride. To see him officially acknowledged by the company as someone capable of carrying global initiatives validated what fans have believed for years. Yet, pride is only part of the picture. Alongside celebration came waves of anxiety. Fans worried about overexposure, burnout, and the immense expectations placed on one person. Jungkook is admired for his resilience, but he is also human. The emotional discussions online weren't just about excitement, they reflected genuine care for his well-being. This mix of emotions explains why the news felt so shocking. Fans weren't unprepared for Jungkook's success. They were unprepared for the scale and speed at which HYBE seemed determined to expand his reach. Jungkook's announcement didn't happen in a vacuum. It arrived at a time when global entertainment industries are shifting. The lines between K-pop, Western pop, and international music markets are blurring. Collaborations between Korean artists and Western producers are increasingly common, while streaming platforms have erased geographical boundaries. In this context, HYBE's move to elevate Jungkook can be seen as a strategic response to these changes. Rather than allowing Western labels to dictate the pace of cross-cultural collaboration, HYBE is actively placing Jungkook at the center of this global conversation. Industry analysts noted that Jungkook has something few other artists possess: a universal resonance. His performances are as impactful in Seoul as they are in Los Angeles or Paris. His fashion influence extends beyond regional markets, and his music often breaks language barriers with sheer vocal delivery. By making him a focal point, HYBE is essentially betting on the idea that Jungkook can act as a bridge between industries, cultures, and audiences. Timing is crucial in entertainment, and HYBE's announcement was no exception. With BTS's group activities temporarily paused due to military service, the company needed a narrative that would keep momentum alive without overshadowing the group's eventual reunion. Jungkook's announcement achieved exactly that. By focusing on Jungkook's individual trajectory, HYBE managed to sustain global attention while also reinforcing BTS's long-term brand strength. The shock, then, was not just about Jungkook himself, but about how his rise fits into the larger BTS story. Fans realized that Jungkook's solo expansion was not a departure from the group, but an extension of its global influence. Mainstream media outlets were quick to dissect the announcement, and their coverage added fuel to the fire. Headlines emphasized words like shocking, unprecedented, and bold, while commentators debated the implications for both Jungkook and HYBE. Some journalists praised HYBE for recognizing Jungkook's global potential and giving him the platform to realize it. Others questioned whether the company was placing too much responsibility on one individual, especially in a climate where the pressures of fame are already immense. Public debate extended beyond entertainment circles. Business analysts weighed in on the economic potential of Jungkook-led projects, while cultural critics explored the deeper symbolism of a Korean artist being positioned as a global figurehead. In both cases, the announcement was treated not merely as celebrity news, but as a cultural milestone. An often overlooked aspect of such announcements is the role of fans themselves. For Jungkook, fans are not passive consumers, they are active participants in his career. They trend hashtags, analyze statements, and mobilize support campaigns. HYBE is well aware of this dynamic and often frames announcements in ways that encourage fan involvement. This announcement was no exception. By leaving room for speculation, HYBE ensured that fans would fill the gaps with discussions, theories, and creative content. In doing so, the company amplified the news far beyond what any press release could achieve. The shock factor wasn't only in the announcement itself, but in the way fans collectively processed it, turning disbelief into conversation and conversation into global visibility. While HYBE's statement was the centerpiece, fans also turned their attention to Jungkook's own words and actions. Would he address the announcement directly? Would he share his feelings about this new phase? For many, the most important reassurance comes not from corporate statements but from Jungkook himself. Historically, Jungkook has been candid about his insecurities, ambitions, and gratitude toward fans. This openness is part of why his connection with audiences feels so genuine. If and when he addresses HYBE's announcement in his own voice, it will likely shape fan perceptions more strongly than any media analysis could. Ultimately, the shock of HYBE's announcement has already begun to transform into momentum. Fans are not just reacting, they are preparing. They are anticipating new music, international appearances, and brand campaigns. They are ready to support Jungkook through streaming projects, fan-organized promotions, and real-time trend monitoring. What HYBE achieved then was not simply surprise, but activation. By framing Jungkook's future in such bold terms, the company galvanized a fanbase that is already known for its unparalleled dedication. As the dust begins to settle, one thing is clear. Jungkook's career is entering a phase unlike any before. HYBE's shocking announcement has raised questions, sparked debates, and stirred emotions, but it has also reinforced what many have long believed. Jungkook is not just a member of BTS. He is a global figure whose influence will continue to shape music, fashion, and culture for years to come. The shock may have caught fans off guard, but it has also set the stage for one of the most anticipated chapters in modern entertainment history. And for Jungkook, it is only the beginning.